You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ MV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club. We got some special guests in the building.
Hey.
Now, it looks like she's going to the Grammys. She's about to perform at the Grammys. We have Michelle Williams. Welcome.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Michelle.
Chad Johnson. Welcome, sir.
Hey.
Good morning.
Y'all don't have a cute nickname yet? Like Chad Shell or something like that?
People been trying it.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Chadell.
We'll go with what you got.
Yeah.
Chad Neutral.
Chad Neutral.
Chad Neutral.
Chad Nitra. Oh, I like that. That's the one.
Chad Neutral.
Chanitra. Yes, I like Chanitra.
You do know that y'all were like the first to uncover my first name, right?
Tanitra?
Yeah.
Really?
Years ago.
Oh.
It was
Yes.
Googleable?
Thanks you so much.
Well,
no,
that was
I
before
don't even know
Google.
how.
I love
Yeah,
I love
I don't
that.
even know how y'all found that out.
I don't remember that either.
Years ago.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah,
Charlamagne
put
says
me
he's
on
your
blast.
friend. Is he really your friend? Does he check up on you when things are going bad and all that?
Yes, he
Okay.
does.
Making
He
sure.
really, really does.
Making
He
sure.
sent a text, DMs, and everything. He has been.
Okay.
He's been there.
Making sure.
How has love changed your life, Michelle?
Um.
Because you know a lot of women, you know, you are all my ladies independent. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, shut up, Chad. Get out my face. Love has changed my life to the place where it's like, this is what you're supposed to have and nothing less. And regretting like time spent on past relationships, and this has just been so effortless. Our relationship has been effortless, and I want to tell the ladies, it's fact that it does not take a man long to figure out if he wants to be with you for life.
Well, let's back up a little bit. We know you. We know what group you're from, and we followed your career. But how did you meet Chad?
So I met Chad. It was recommended that I go to one of his retreats. So he has a ministry called Elevate based out of Phoenix. Every year he has a young adult camp called Remix in Phoenix. And so actually,
You're Pastor Chad.
Yeah,
Pastor.
I didn't know that.
yeah, and so actually,
This guy. This guy.
his conference has been held every year in Williams, Arizona, in these mountains at a like cabin with all cabins and a auditorium. And so they were like, you gotta go. So I was in a place where I was like, you know what, I just need a word. I need Jesus, praise and worship music. So we go.
But what were you going through that you needed that?
Just
Life, nigga.
I mean, it's
God
like,
damn, don't you
That's
need
good,
God?
though.
But
enough,
enough like a word.
to go on a retreat. That's a lot to say. I'm going on a retreat by myself. No,
Yes,
that's a
and
lot.
I've heard so much about this retreat from other peers in gospel music and like LaToya Luckett, Matt Kemp, everybody. You gotta go to this retreat. And so I was like, okay. So I went and forgot my makeup and everything. So I went barefaced. I didn't have a curling iron, just a ponytail. And I was like, listen, this is what it is. I didn't come for anything else but
Healing. Okay.
So his best friend's wife, Lizette, was like, yo, first day I get there, I think you and Chad would be so cute together. I said, I didn't come to flirt with the pastor. I'm not his conference concubine. This is not what, it ain't that type of party, boo-boo.
You could have did that on Kristen Mingle. Don't need to go to a retreat.
Right, didn't have to do that. And so, but he was very nice, very hospitable, and we literally left it at that. It was one of the most powerful, life-changing conferences I've ever been to in my life.
Chad, what were you thinking when you first saw Michelle? Did you have to sneak off and say a little prayer like, God, please, I know the flesh is weak.
Right. The spirit's willing.
Yes.
I mean, she's beautiful. Her reputation precedes her, and what she didn't tell you.
Into the mic.
Don't try it. Don't
No.
do it.
What she didn't tell you though
Uh-oh.
was the first night she was there after we met. She made me a salad,
Ooh.
a chicken salad, and so I said, "Your mama taught you well, because the way to a man's heart is through what?
His
His stomach.
And it worked, and she left with a situation.
What made you make him a salad?
So when I grew up in church, I was raised in church. I was raised to serve. Like, you be in the kitchen after church. Everybody wants to eat, so you serve. I was a church nurse, usher, praise and worship leader, everything. So it wasn't nothing for me to serve. So after it was like midnight or something, he comes in after he has everything settled from church that night. He walks in and everybody's like, "Great service, Pastor Chad." And I was like, he goes into the refrigerator, And nobody did anything. Nobody got up to like fix him anything. He preached and everything. I was like, no one's gonna like, because where I come from, you serve.
Is you hungry?
Is you hungry? So I got up. It was some salad stuff, and I shook that thing up real good. Got that ranch dressing distributed evenly throughout the lettuce, and served him. And that was literally it.
There's a part of me that feels like you knew Chad was the one, Michelle.
You know what? Let me tell you
She didn't make nobody else's
No.
Exactly.
Listen, no. But I was washing dishes. I was cleaning. I was doing everything because I felt like, first of all, it cost to be there. They comped my stay. I said, well, the least I could do is help out and all of that good stuff. I was raised to serve. And so that's what I did. And about a month later, 2 months later, maybe he reached out to me because he remembered that I had to sing somewhere. I had to do 6 services in one day at a church. They did 6 Easter services. He said, hey, I remembered you had to sing 6 times today. I know you're going to kill it. He prayed for me. And then I was like,
This is a sign.
it showed me that he remembered. He was thoughtful. And I was like, I think I want to pursue this, but I never told him because I know a lot of women come up to him and say, you know, the Lord told me you my husband, and I never want to be that chick, but I knew there was something special
A lot of women come
about
at you
him.
like that?
Being single in ministry for 22 years, man.
That's some good G, though. I ain't gonna lie, man. That was
God told me.
What if a woman said she was praying for your penis, Chad? Just seriously. All jokes aside, how do you tell her that no, that's not how this works?
I'd say just stay right here at the altar in the prayer line.
Yeah.
But they try. They try it. I mean, just men, period, and some high profile men in leadership. Women will always be like, not always, not all women, but it's like, you know what? The Lord told me I'm your wife.
So how do you flirt with the pastor, Michelle? How do you shoot your shot with the pastor? How do you let the pastor know it can go down?
Well, it ain't gonna go down until we're married,
Right.
But
But I'm not just talking about sexually nasty. I'm just talking about in general.
Dating.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
but I'm just telling you. Let me tell you. Listen,
They're waiting until they get married.
listen now. The struggle is all the way real. He is awesome. He's fine. He works out. He's everything that was on my list except for the dark skin part.
And the nice
damn
hair.
it.
And the nice hair. But he has everything
You wanted a little dark
else.
skin brother?
Why? So I had this list. I was like, he got tall, dark skin.
What's wrong with a light skin
hair.
brother?
Cause y'all be in the mirror. Y'all think y'all, you know.
Chad, you be in the
Hold
mirror?
on. Chad, you light
This-
skinned?
Obviously.
I thought you was Caucasian. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Yeah,
I am.
he's
I am.
all
Oh,
the
okay,
way-
yeah,
He did his
all right.
ancestry DNA and not a drop.
Got you.
You say not a
It's,
drop of
it's
black
all
in it?
it's all
drug.
European.
So did you have a problem with having a white guy?
No, I didn't. He's got so much swag and
I ain't gonna lie, I thought he was light skinned. I just thought he was a little albino. I thought
A lot of R&B music he's put me up on,
Okay.
and hip hop. He knows, like, him and his mom back in the day would go to Brownstone concerts in Alamogordo, New
My
Mexico.
God.
So they
You got to be an R&B lover. You go to
you
Brownstone.
know.
Brownstone. I love Brownstone. but That's a deep R&B.
Yeah. So for me, it wasn't about, oh my gosh, he's white. It wasn't until we went public that, you know, everybody made it a problem.
Did you get fed up with black men and decide to start dating
No,
outside your race? Or-
no. I went for who loved me and who was faithful. I don't have to check his phone. I don't have to worry about who he's texting. I don't have to worry about is he in somebody's DMs because I'm enough for him. So
Chad,
I'm good.
How weird is it for you now being thrust into the spotlight? Because that has to be different. Obviously, you're used to attention, but it's a different type of attention now.
Yeah, of course. You know, the last almost 20 years I've been serving in professional sports.
Right.
So I've been a sports chaplain, and so I've been behind the scenes a lot, you know, prepping guys to be out here in the public and rep well. And, you know, then she comes along and we're thrusted to the, you know, the forefront of so much, so the public opinion, things of that nature. And so, I mean, it's taken some getting used to for me, but I kind of feel like, you know, both of us share our lives so much. I mean, her through stage, you know, through singing, through videos. And I've pretty much shared my life since I was 20 with people, you know, through speaking and just sharing my testimony, my story, you know, and my upbringing.
And I think people don't realize, like, it's not even about what y'all do. It's about who y'all are. Like, two people
Yeah.
that just fell in love with each other.
Yeah.
really, that's all it was. Love did this, God did this, and that's all I can say about it. And I didn't have a preference.
What did your
You still
family
didn't tell
say?
us. Oh, go ahead.
What did your family say? Because you said you grew up in the church, and usually, black families in church, they like, you gonna come back with a black man, or you gonna come back with a black woman. What was their reaction?
Actually, my mom and them were, first of all, they were just so excited that somebody is gonna marry me, first of all.
Oh, my lady.
They just, I will never forget, like, it could be a mailman that's dropping off a package, and my dad would be like, yeah. I'm like, no, Dad, he's just dropping off a package. They just want to put me off with anybody. And I'm literally one of the last ones, in my group, in my circle, that's getting married. And so everybody was just so excited that, he's a great man. They know his level of commitment and who he is. And my mother don't like nobody that I've ever dated. But she loves Chad.
Chad, how did your family feel about you being married, bringing a sister home?
Well, I don't know. They weren't shocked.
Mm-hmm. I'm not the
He went to
first.
Brownstone.
Okay, you like black women.
I mean, I like women.
Got you.
So it wasn't.
Women's.
It wasn't a preference, man. My family, we've been raised in such a unique way. My mom serves and has for like 30, 40 years on the Native American reservations. So our whole life has been completely multicultural, in so many respects. My parents were divorced when I was 13, and my mom's first boyfriend after my dad was an African American man.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Come on, Mama.
What made y'all decide not to have sex before marriage? Is it all faith-based?
So when we started dating, Chad said sex is not an option. And I was like, okay, all right, cool. Because I'm not going to go into marriage a virgin. But because I don't want anybody to think that I've been perfect. But I felt this was so good because I don't feel pressured to have sex to keep a man.
And when you say sex, you mean everything, not
everything to keep a man. I don't have to do that. I don't have to feel the pressure of that. And I got different results. We were dating less than a year, and he put a ring on it with no booty.
Chad, was that hard for you?
That was very hard.
Right. This is what I will say. Everything works in my life.
Yeah.
Nothing's malfunctioning. So it's real. We have our love's real.
I can't even
our
hug
attraction's
him.
real.
Get hard?
I'm like, yo.
That wedding day's gonna be. That wedding night
I
is
wonder
gonna
if
be
he knows
crazy.
that my dick is hard right now.
Charlamagne.
That's next. Too close, Tanitra.
I had a scripture for you. Give me my phone, Irma. I had scriptures
Michelle,
ready.
can I
What
ask
did
you
your mom
something?
say?
What kind of guys were you bringing home that nobody liked anybody else you ever dated?
I feel like I've dated successful men in their own lane, but they just were not ready to commit. And my mom could smell it. There are some that I knew weren't ready to commit, but I was trying so hard to do and be everything, be a chameleon almost. I'll be thottish. Okay, that ain't working. Okay, I'll be the church girl. Okay, that's not working. Okay, I'll do this. Okay, that's not working. And nothing that I could do worked. Nothing that you're just never the right woman for the wrong man. You could have everything. You could be everything, successful. He ain't got to pay for nothing. You could have everything you need. But if it's literally the wrong man at the wrong time, he don't care what you got. He's just not going to commit. He is definitely not going to be faithful. There are just too many options out here.
So you think Chad accepted you for you? Maybe
Chad
it's that?
accepted me for me. I can wear my hair bonded around him. I don't have to have on makeup. He has plucked my chin hairs for me a few times before I started getting laser hair removal. All of those things, I feel like he accepts me for everything. throughout everything.
Can
You
we
still
talk
haven't
about
told
the
us how-
show?
Oh, go ahead.
The
You know what
show
I'm saying?
Chad Loves Michelle, because you guys did have your ups and downs in the relationship, and there was a time when it didn't seem like you guys would get married, right? So is that going to play out on the show, or we see what happens?
It will play out in the show. And so the reason why we're even doing the show, it's not something that we have to do. God is good in our lives to where it's not something we have to do. We started pre-engagement counseling even before we got engaged. It's pre-engagement to just kind of figure out, okay, he is like, am I really gonna spend these racks on this girl in this ring?
Am I gonna spend the church's money?
You know, no,
Come on, man.
it's not the church's coin.
On racks.
Not the church's coin. But when we started sharing with our friends about counseling, we realized how so many people do not do marriage counseling. And we were like, okay, let's film ours in real time with our real therapist. And that's what we chose to do. She recommends 8 sessions before she even recommends marriage to her couples. And we're doing 8 episodes, which the Oprah Winfrey Network bought 8 episodes. We have 8 counseling sessions. So throughout the 8 sessions are finances, communication, intimacy, family. Each week we'll talk about, those different parts of our therapy. So we're like, listen, we'll be the guinea pig. We'll sit on the sofa and let everybody at home get their
that's
therapy
incredible.
through us.
That's dope.
Yeah, man.
That's hella dope.
Yeah, I think there's, the uniqueness of it is, I think no matter who it is watching, you're going to be able to see and identify yourself with either it's my story or something we're going through. Right. I think it just levels the playing field.
What did you guys go through that made it a period of time when it wasn't working?
Oh my gosh,
Right?
So all this year, I found myself slipping back into depression, but I didn't tell anybody.
Why?
Just some unresolved. He put it together so amazing. Some soul wounds that just have had me so jacked up mentally, like figuring out like how come I didn't speak up for myself. How come I stayed in certain relationships? How come as a child I witnessed and saw some things, verbal abuse, the bullying, the this? How come that has affected me in my childhood? In my adulthood.
Right.
And it's so real that whatever you're not healed from in your childhood manifests itself somehow in your adulthood. It could be pressure from a job or lack thereof. Something just triggers that unhealed girl or that unhealed boy in you. It just triggered that. For me, I wanted to marry Chad. I wanted us to be engaged. And then when we got engaged, I started feeling unworthy. Like, what? I have everything I need. He says I'm enough for him. He's done looking. He's ready for marriage. And he proposes to me. And then I was literally like, oh my gosh, this is real. I'm an adult. Oh gosh, I'm a woman. Oh my gosh, well, I gotta be a wife. Oh my gosh, I gotta do this. Just feeling all the pressure. And then who he is, especially in his world, he is so esteemed and so respected. But I come from Destiny's Child, booty shaking music.
Secular music.
Secular music. About to marry a pastor. Do I fit in his world? Because a lot of people were like, oh gosh, Chad, you're marrying darkness.
But you did gospel music too.
I know, but they
You've always been a
don't.
God-fearing woman?
They haven't done their history.
Okay.
They haven't done their history. Just a lot of the pressures, just a lot of the unhealed stuff. So for me, the last bit was a lot of the anger. So I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even tell him. He didn't know until I said, I have to go to the hospital, is when he was like, oh. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell family. I didn't tell friends because I didn't want anybody to be like, oh gosh, here we go again. And I felt like a hypocrite because being an ambassador for the Office of Women's Health, doing mental health speeches around this country, mental health facilities and speeches, encouraging people, being so open since 2013 about depression, I felt like a hypocrite, like I gotta just deal with this on my own.
Was
And
it
I
suicidal thoughts that made you want to go to the hospital, or was it like what made you say I have to go?
The anger and the darkness that was just, I was having out of body, feeling not like myself, feeling literally like something was taking over me. I was not suicidal this time, but I had questions. Well, if this don't work out, why should I live? But I didn't have any plans. No plans.
It's amazing because a lot of people don't even know that that's an option. You know, when you're going through stuff like that they can actually check into a facility to get some type of treatment. Yeah,
and so I hit my therapist up to let her know. And so we were finding various facilities to go to, and I found one that I was like, okay, I think this is the one for me. And when I went in, I didn't even think of who I was. I just went. I drove myself there. It was affecting our relationship.
Y'all broke up twice, right? I'm assuming you broke up with him because you felt like, it's me, not you, Chad.
I did.
What made you keep holding on, Chad?
Well, I mean, first off, my love for her, number one. But then, Michelle's a beautiful person inside and out. It doesn't take anybody long to figure that out. I think at the end of the day, though, for me, it was just I'm committed, and I know that what she's kind of going through is the wrestling with herself and the feelings of unworth. And I felt like she needed a rock during that time more than anything else, for her to know, look, I'm not going anywhere. Right. People may bail on you when you don't perform well or whatever, according to their opinion, but I'm not going anywhere. So I'm going to rock with you in this however I can.
So you had no reservations because, as you know, you're taking on all of that she's dealing with.
Yeah.
And it's going to come back.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to ever, totally go away. So you were willing to take on all of that.
Yeah, man. I mean, to me, that's love, right?
That's why with everything you got. Chad Loves Michelle.
But I love him too.
But it's interesting to me that it's called Chad Loves Michelle.
Yeah. I don't know why it's called Chad Loves
Michelle. And Michelle loves Chad too.
And Michelle loves Chad too. I like that part.
But it does show, but it's just affirmation for me. Chad loves me. Chad loves me. He's not going anywhere. He's been there. He has proven himself time and time and time and time again. I really feel like he is a physical manifestation of what God intended for all his daughters to have. I
want to explore the feeling of not feeling worthy of his love. Because, I mean, I understand that feeling because I feel like that with just success in general. Like, I don't feel worthy of it. Why do we have those feelings?
I don't know. It's the thing where you're taught you got to be humble. Don't be bragging about your success. Don't be doing that. And then I just felt like, I'm not going to tell all your business. He's been abstaining. And I was like, ooh, I didn't. How his commitment to his faith has unwavered and just feeling like, ooh, I'm a heathen compared to, I put him on a pedestal as well. And he's like, babe, I'm not perfect. He has shared so much of his faults, and imperfections with me. I really believe it was a slick, as the church mothers like this, the enemy's trick to have me be alone, because what I go through when I'm isolated will take me out of here. Will take me out of here. If darkness can strip away everybody close to me, everybody that loves me, that's dangerous.
Yeah. How long were you there for?
So I was there for like 6 days. I wanted to stay longer, but when a famed media source found out, I got very, very scared. And
who blew you up? I thought who was the one that said it?
So, mind you, when I checked in the facility,
I thought it was against the law to tell people.
They take your purse, they take your phone, everything. So my manager called me and said, I just want you to know that we got a phone call. No, I'm sorry. He got an email, and the email said, we got our hands on some sensitive information about Michelle Williams. We hear she's in a facility outside of Los Angeles, California. We want to be respectful and report it with, basically, like, we want facts before we report it.
We're going to report it, but we just want to make sure this is true.
But you have a chance to say something.
Yeah, and so I was like, yo, you ain't finna tell my story. You ain't even tell what I'm going through. And so I created something. I gave my manager my passwords and everything because I'm in the hospital. I can't tweet and Instagram. And he had to post it for me.
You're like, I'm telling my own story.
I'm telling my story. And I also felt like this is why people don't go
to those places
to get treatment and get help because of, I'm going to be ratted out.
Yeah.
I don't know who told it. It could have been the person serving me them powdered eggs because I had to eat with everybody. And I loved it. I met some of everybody. No one was in a straitjacket. Nobody was twitching. Like I heard people say, oh, she's in the crazy house or she's sane. Yo, there was a nurse in there. There was this rich man in there. There was a 76-year-old woman in there, a 75-year-old man in there who didn't even realize he's been an amputee all his life. And for some reason this year he realized he's an amputee and got depressed and very low. I
don't think people realize too that like how much we reinforce the stigma of mental health because we're so inconsiderate of people's mental health issues.
Yeah. And I've learned I try not to call people crazy anymore. It's just certain things I've been learning. But in the hospital, the whole place, when you go to lunch, it would look like this. It would look like this.
A mess?
No.
Everybody's at lunch.
No, it would look like this. I can't look at you and tell you what your issue is because you're not what we see on TV as crazy or the person that needs to be in the mental health facility. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just hate that people found out, and I think that's what keeps people from getting the help and the treatment that they need.
So you didn't tell anybody that you were going, just Chad and
Chad. I wasn't even telling my mom, but I was like, man, if so I called certain people that were close to me, and then other close people, when they found out, media.
I was going to ask about that. What, did your friends call? Because it was all over the press, so I'm sure old members of your group and friends.
Yeah,
and
no.
family called.
Everybody was reaching out. And anybody's number that I memorized, I called while I was in the hospital. And then the day I got out the hospital, my phone had messages galore. And so I literally sat in the parking lot for an hour before I left. Like, first of all, was I really in this hospital? And then just reading the messages of support. Charlamagne was one of them.
That's a fact.
I
understood it. I got it. Because, we all go through those type of situations. And I feel like it's your duty to talk about it, though, because you've been blessed with such a platform.
Yeah. And then for him to, Chad was in constant communication with my doctor because he's never really been depressed, to your understanding. So he didn't know what I was going through. So I really applaud him for finding out about what is it. How can I help her?
I come from the sports world, It's just like you play hurt. You learn how to play hurt. Right. You get up. You do what you got to do to win the ball game, And
but even this year, you've seen so many athletes talking about the issues that they're going through. Kevin Love, DeMar DeRozan.
Right, right. So, I had to educate myself a lot. So I had a ton of questions for our doctor. Right. Our therapist helped me a lot through the process.
Was any of the social media stuff, like the jokes that they constantly made on you throughout the years, Michelle, did that ever get to you?
I won't lie and say it didn't, because it's like, man, you put in the same amount of rehearsals everybody else puts in. You do this, you do that, but yet feeling like I'm singled out. I love my quirkiness. I love my goofiness. And that's who I am. And that's who I will always be. I love the church girl tag. I grew up in church. I wouldn't trade my upbringing for anything. It was the best foundation for me. So I'm not going to be, I'm not a sex pot. Ain't nobody looking at me like, ooh, yeah. Like,
Chad.
That's
can't wait.
Listen.
There's a glorious day
and she keep looking at him like he a snack too every time.
And listen, honey, and that's all that matters. So, and people say don't read the comments, but you get excited about, you want to hear what everybody's saying about a performance, and then it's like, oh dang, So, but getting tougher skin is kind of like, you know, and then with him, he's like, baby, why you even care? Why do you even read that
Let's
stuff?
go live our real life.
Yeah, why do you even
Let's
care?
Say
create
that
our
now till
reality.
He pop up on that TV and see how harsh people can be.
right.
No, but he's been getting some, you know, some foolishness and some backlash, and it is what it is. We chose to be public with our relationship and expose things only to help and inspire, because we were both in a place where we were like, I don't want to be in a relationship. I was like, I'm just going to be a successful woman, single. And I said, it's about God, career, and family. And I got to that place where I wasn't even focused on relationships. And I met Chad. He was in the same place. Like, he was like, I'm finna just go hard in ministry, and that's it. I'm not even gonna try anymore.
So we need to
That's
know
good.
more about this retreat, because I'm sure now more people want to go.
They want to go to
She
this
still ain't
retreat.
told us how she shot her shot at the pastor. You didn't tell
She
us
slid
how
in
you-
my DMs, man. She slid
I
in my
believe that.
DMs.
That's what you did? I believe that.
Tell the truth.
I'm gonna let him be great. Now, everybody in this room, on a count of 3, I'll give you the countdown. When you respond to somebody's IG story, where does the message go? 1, 2, 3. In
DMs.
your thank you. I did not press message to slide in your DMs,
Oh, we slid in
Pastor
yours
Chad.
first.
Don't do me.
But technically, you were in his
So
DM.
you-
And technically,
Thank you.
I was technically in his DMs.
Technically
So that's how it
speaking,
started.
it
So
wasn't
that
a
worked
it
out.
wasn't a
That's how
comment.
the personal
It was a DM.
communication started. He reached out to me to thank me for coming to the retreat, being there, and that's really all the text was. Then the first other text, you said I dissed you. I don't recall it being a diss.
How'd she diss you, Chad?
Because I was trying to reach out and I said, hey, trying to curve it from business talk, ministry talk
That's
to
the best
like,
salad I ever had in my life.
you know what I mean? Like, how do you kind of curve this to like, hey, what about
What did you say,
me,
Pastor? I
what
wanna know
about
what that
me and
word
you?
is like. What's that?
What about me and you connecting sometime?
That's what you
said
said?
that?
Something like that. Some corny like
Forget
that.
it. You said not without God, just me and you.
Just me and you. Just me and you. You bring him to the table. I'll bring him to the table if you want to. However, me and you. What about
He
me
was
and you
like, so how about-
connecting sometimes?
Yeah.
So I get you see the little bubbles pop up on the phone, right? I mean, she's responding before I can even set the phone down. And she says, in all caps, connect with 6 question marks.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Oh, that
Yeah,
was.
so here's how I
That
heard
didn't
it.
go so well.
That meant nasty ass
Here's
pastor.
how I heard it.
Nasty ass
Connect.
pastor.
Like with you? Connect. What
All
you mean
caps,
connect?
like,
with
that's
you?
You gotta curve it back. You be like, I know I'm
was
talking
like-
about, mentally, and just have a conversation with God. That's it. That's why I would have went with it, because I'd have been scared that she's
Michelle,
trying to.
now
Right,
that
right,
did
right.
sound like you curved him.
You definitely
You
seem
see
like
what
you're
I'm
trying to
saying?
curve.
You're the first woman to
Yeah,
say that,
you
bro.
are the
Because
first
you
woman.
wrote connect in all caps with question marks.
Because I was like, so for me, it was clarity. Connect. Regardless how you heard it, I wanted
Connect.
clarity.
what you
Connect
said.
what? Connect 4?
I
What?
took it like
Connect
a
the dots.
Right, exactly, man.
You know what connect
how
Well, you
you
should have
reply to
came
that?
back and say, my bad, I meant connect over a phone call, or if I'll come to LA, we'll do lunch,
What did
dinner.
you say back?
Nothing.
Well, here's why.
Froze.
Because my best friend, my boy, he was talking me into it, and I said, man, you know where I'm at. Like, I haven't dated in 6 months.
Right.
I'm done with this whole situation. So I was like, if I get dissed, like if I get rejected right now, I'm gonna punch you in the mouth because I can't handle it.
That's
That's
not
not
very
godly.
pastorly.
You know what I'm
That's not
saying?
very godly. That's not godly.
Right, exactly. We'll get to know each other a little more, man. So I was like, so I just chucked the phone at him, hit him in the chest. He's like, man, it can't be that bad, right? So he picks it up. I was like, read it, bro.
Connect.
And so he reads it, and he's like, oh, damn. Like it's bad. It is that bad. Like she did dish you.
What you should have did, because you
And
weren't
so-
sure, was you should have hit her back and said, oh, I'm sorry if I was out of bounds. And then that would have
He didn't say none of that.
Yeah,
I was
he
like,
just he
I
didn't
should
say any,
have,
and
but
then
I was like,
he didn't
man,
talk to me
she-
for weeks. I was like, dude, you should.
So then a
should
couple
just,
weeks later
you
is when
should have
she
just
slid
hit
in
me
my
back
DMs.
like,
Okay.
oh, I meant connect, like something.
Nah. Connect is that's all bad.
Why you
Come
shaking
on,
your
man.
head, bro?
All of this is whack, and the reason it's whack is because why can't just two people just say what they want?
He
All this,
tried.
it should be this way,
tried.
and it
Thank
should
you.
be
He
that
just
way.
said, let's connect.
If she don't
Come
respond
on,
to you,
Andy.
don't reply, ignore her.
How
That's
about
BS.
me and you connecting sometime? Don't come at me like that. Come at me with really what it is? How about me and you talking? How about me and you going to lunch? How about me and you?
He said connect.
I'm a little slow, so I didn't get it. Okay.
He was feeling it out. Like,
You
man,
know.
I
Mr.
was,
Blessings.
man.
Just
I
in
was.
case you
I
said
did the
no.
Heisman.
Exactly.
I didn't mean
I didn't
that
want
way.
to. Yeah, you know. Exactly. Give
So
myself a little space.
then I hit. So just fast forward Cliff Notes version, and a few months. So we started FaceTiming like every night, every day.
Praying for you.
Yep.
Yep.
And you got to FaceTime at the right angle.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He was looking so yummy
She said-
FaceTiming.
I was throwing my
And
arm up
so-
on my head like this.
He was so cute. And so then for a few months later, we actually saw each other in person and went out on our first date, but he had a chaperone with him.
A chaperone.
Yeah.
Come on.
And,
You brought your mom with you?
No, he had one of his little interns or
I had
something.
an intern.
I
I was doing work
dude.
for the Dodgers.
You really trying to mess this up, man.
So I was in LA doing some work with the Dodgers, right?
Oh, gosh.
And she was in LA, and so I finally said, you know, I'm extending my business trip a couple days.
Let's connect.
You know,
But you brought your intern with you?
He was hanging, so it was.
That's hella bougie,
That's
Chad.
weird.
You know what I'm saying?
So it was
mean-
cool. It was cool. And then we started kind of like really dating. And then he told me in June of that year, he was like, he's done looking. I said, oh, ooh.
Did he have his intern with him when he said that?
He
too?
did
No,
not.
no,
Thank
no,
you,
no.
Jesus. He didn't have his intern with him then. And then I
Yeah.
was like, wow, he said he's done looking, like as in like me and you exclusively, you're done looking?
Wow.
I mean, it was from March until mid-June that we
Mm-hmm.
just built a friendship, you know? And so it was built on communication and a lot of just
Why'd you
FaceTime.
really bring that intern with you, Chad? Was it a security blanket?
Just in case.
No, man,
just
he
in
was
case.
there.
Just in
He-
case.
He was there.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there.
You
could
could have
have
dropped
gotten
him off
I
at
couldn't get rid of him.
Disneyland or something.
I guess I could have.
You should have.
I should have called the show.
Well,
Chad
it all
Connects
works
with
out.
Michelle. That's what
Exactly.
they should have
Exactly.
called. Chad connects with Michelle. That's what the show should
We
be
need to
called.
deal with Connect 4. How about that?
Oh, do you do
We need to
medication?
take a survey.
I do.
Okay.
I just started with this last stint because I was trying to do it holistically. Like, I'm just gonna work out. I'm gonna do this, and so I just wasn't disciplined in that area. And I did start on medication. It's been working, but it's like, man, I'm scared of medication because you take one thing and then you got to take one thing for this symptom, and
See,
then
that's how
it's
black
just,
people think. Like, I'll take this, then I'm gonna be on coke, then I'm gonna be on crack, then I'm gonna be on heroin. Like,
No!
it's
What are you
not
talking
like
about?
that.
No,
I don't think she meant it. I don't think she
Not
meant it.
from real
legal
prescribed
substances.
But that's
medication.
what people always think. You get stuck
No.
on opioids and stuff. That's what
No.
people
No,
think.
I didn't mean
Absolutely.
that. I meant like, will this medication cause another ailment? Then
Yes.
I got to take another medication for that ailment that
Right.
this could possibly cause.
Like if it's sleeplessness, and then now I gotta
Yes,
take.
yes,
Exactly.
antidepressants
Exactly.
will cause sleeplessness. So then, before you know it, you're taking
Sleep
You know,
medication.
sleep medication.
And so, Chad, it's your job as a husband, right? You got to make
Right.
sure she takes her meds and stuff. So you got to be on top of all of this.
Yeah, I mean, it plays out in the show too.
Yeah.
You know, because it's been kind of a struggle for us, to be honest. You know, she calls me General Johnson.
Yo, 'cause he's like, did you drink your water? Did you eat? Did you take your medicine? Did you do this?
She's like, can you add a babe to it or something?
Like, he's like, baby, did you take your pills? Baby, did you do push-ups today? Like, working out with him, like, I'm not one of your NFL buddies that you chaplainize. I just not gonna do it. So he's really mean to me when
He
we
got to
work
sweeten
out.
it up a little.
He needs to say, babe, do these lunges.
Right.
Is it difficult for you, Chad, because you are a pastor, so people come to you with their issues and their problems all the time. Is it difficult when she wants to go see her therapist instead of talking to you?
No. I'm like,
He said
please go. Let me know how it goes. I'll pray for you from here.
But I do talk about what we talk about in therapy.
Yeah.
We do couples therapy as well, and that's what we really want to encourage people to, because how do you go into marriage and not do therapy, counseling? How you don't go to any job without some type of training, informational orientation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why we want to go into marriage well equipped as much as we possibly can. And it's been fun, but then there have been moments where we both been excited to go into therapy, and then when I leave out, I be like, I don't want to marry you.
Exactly.
You know, because it was a hard conversation or some truths that came out
Are we
that,
really gonna make
that
it?
he don't like about me or something.
Are we
And I be
really
like, you
doing
know
this?
what? Screw you then. We ain't got to. Then I pull the. We ain't got to do this.
But like you said, you can't hear what you don't reveal. I was
Yes.
like that with my father in therapy, hating that nigga. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But then you like, okay, Once you discuss what you actually hate about him, then you get to a better place.
So have you encouraged Envy and Angela to seek therapy, take care of their mental health?
No. I just
You just
talk
do
about it on my own.
So y'all aren't inspired to check on your mental health?
I've been to marriage counseling way before I got married, so
Okay.
this is not it's not new.
I'm talking about individual. How do you keep your mental health healthy?
I think for myself, I'm very open, and I have a lot of friends that I'm around a lot, so I express myself a lot anyway.
Good.
So I feel like that's always been really therapeutic, and I write.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that happen, I write it down, so I have all of that stuff already. So I feel like that's been helpful, but I haven't ever really been in a dark place or felt like, you know, but not that I don't think people can benefit from it otherwise.
Yeah.
But I think that I've always had like a lot of communication.
I mean, I've had all that too. I mean, I'm very open about everything, but
Yeah.
sometimes things just get overwhelming. You know, and like you said, have things from your past when you was younger, and they start affecting you more when you're an adult, and you're like, yo, why am I thinking about this?
I just fixed the ham and cheese. What happened?
No,
You know
for
what I'm
real.
saying? That bologna with that bubble in it. Like, why did this trigger anger?
Like
You know
my
what's-
pops asked me one thing this summer that set me off about me and his dynamic and our relationship. Just like one little question that was it was a simple question that tripped me out, and like I really had to get that off my chest with him.
On episode 4, I think it's the 4th week, I do a personal session with our therapist. And a lot of it goes back to my dad, you know, because when my parents got a divorce, my dad, he was like my coach. He was community leader. He was the guy, you know. And man, when life hit us as a family, he just completely like fell all apart. So he started turning to drugs, alcohol, running the streets, all kinds of stuff. And I felt it was on my shoulders to keep him alive. Like I was 14 years old at this point. His dad had committed suicide when he was 17. And so it was always kind of like a fear for me,
Right.
you know, that my dad is going to do the same thing. And he was struggling so bad, you know, in life, and felt like he lost his family. And so I felt it was like childhood adulting, you know, it flipped on. I was the parent all of a sudden emotionally. And so it did some stuff to me, man. Like, you know, that I felt kind of coming back as it related to Michelle's issue, because then, you know, here I've been waiting all this time. Finally, I make this decision to get married. Here we go. And then all of a sudden, boom. And it felt very eerily similar to my dad, you know, and I'm like, here I got to take care again emotionally, you know, not that you're not emotionally invested in a relationship, right? And you come to the table with knowing that you got to, you know, support and carry some things, but it just connected.
But to babysit
back to my
somebody's
dad.
emotions, that's a lot, which I don't think is fair in a relationship. You should not babysit somebody's
100%.
emotions. Come to the table as whole as possible. I don't know if you will actually really be 100% whole.
Never.
You know what I'm saying? But as whole as possible. And the great thing is we are executive producers of our show, which airs this Saturday at 9 p.m. So we will not be blaming editing because we
Get the final say.
get the final say.
You're not
We
throwing drinks at each other.
No,
Right.
we watch it. We watch episodes because there was a young lady, and we're doing this Twitter Q&A, and she was like, "I loathe reality TV. I hate you guys are doing it." I said, "Yo, just watch the show. I guarantee you will be touched by something. There is nothing that we leave hidden."
That's dope.
You know, I was listening to Reverend John Gray this morning on Oprah Super Soul Conversation, and he said a word that really touched me that I think applies to this. He said, "My brokenness is not a deterrent to God's purpose."
That's good. Yeah, actually, it can be used. You know, your brokenness can be used because what happens is we see everybody that's in the limelight, we think we cannot attain what they have because we think it's perfection. We think they did everything right growing up. We think that, you know, in order to be blessed, in order to be successful, you had to have everything right. You got to pray every day. You have to do this, which prayer is a definite key. But to talk about brokenness, your brokenness can really, 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 really help somebody. But you don't want to stay broken. You know, you want to get to a place of healing and wholeness as much as possible. He has definitely encouraged me and strengthened my walk. because I really thought I had it together when we met, and he showed me like, ooh, you gotta do a little bit of work, because in past relationships I've kind of been the dominant one, having it more together spiritually, mentally, financially, just period. Met him, I was like, oh dang, all right, okay, I gotta step it up, which has been great. Right. You know, think great relationships make you better. Right.
So when's the wedding?
What happened?
When's the wedding?
Watch the show.
You gotta watch it.
Watch the show.
Starts Saturday.
But we are in great preparation to move on and do life together.
What if y'all get married and the sex is whack?
Don't you do it, Charlamagne.
I'm sorry. God know my heart.
But
don't you do it?
What if? No, I'm just kidding.
I like this conversation.
I don't think it's.
Let's keep talking about sex.
Because did we talk about it? We talked about. Not to be vulgar, because you
have seen him naked though.
I've seen some nice pictures and like him in the gym.
You haven't seen him naked
he's
in person?
Awesome. He's awesome.
Okay.
You haven't seen his
Maybe
whole
you're asking
garage,
too many
though.
questions about what he looks like.
You haven't seen Moses' staff?
No, we have not taken a shower with each other.
Hilarious.
Did you see Moses' staff?
What?
You didn't see Moses' staff?
Charlamagne.
Why are you so concerned about what Dad looks like naked?
You didn't see the snake that was in the garden?
What did Moses do with his staff, brother?
I don't remember.
He worked miracles.
There you go.
We're gonna have to elope. Let me tell you something.
That was the one that did it for you. That line make you want to elope and do it right now.
I want to elope. Like, let's go. I really love.
We're gonna be all right.
Him holding me, snuggling with me, and right now,
so y'all cuddling and watch TV.
So let me tell you. Let me give you
man.
the. We're supposed to be. I'll tell you this tidbit in the show. You'll learn. We're supposed to be married now, but I acted a donkey and pulled the plug. We're supposed to be married now. So he had all his stuff. He moved from Pittsburgh to L.A. He was working with the Steelers. He moved everything to L.A. because we're gonna start our life together in L.A. And then So when we started filming the show, actually the show was even different than what it's supposed to be as well. Life happened, and so he does spend a lot of time with me out in LA, and I personally have had a hard time, like, man, okay, I know we're not supposed to live together, so my sofa is his bed.
And this week she's been pretty frisky like this week. Even
in
in New York, I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, Chad laid down the law. He's the one saying we're not going to do this. It's not Michelle. So.
No, we're going to make it. We have something to uphold. And listen, this is to anybody who wants to do their relationship, do something different to get what you never had. So that's just my thing.
Well, we appreciate you guys for joining us.
Thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for coming. Thank you for having us.
Wow. Your mind really in the gutter this morning. Wow, Michelle. Chad, pray for her. Pray for each other.
I'm trying. Pray for me. Pray for me.
Thank you for having us. Y'all are so, I knew I needed a scripture. Chad, close us out in prayer.
Close us in prayer, Chad.
Close us out in prayer. Come on, close us out in prayer. Seriously, honey. Come on, close us out in prayer.
All right, awesome. Father, we thank you so much for your goodness, your grace in our life. We thank you for the way that you have your hand upon us. And God, I thank you for my brothers and my sisters here. Lord God, I thank you. You just go before them, continue to make the way straight. Give them favor as they trust in you. Surround them, Lord God, with a shield. Yeah. And I just pray, Father, that you would bless them beyond their wildest dreams. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, well, there you have it. It's Chad Loves Michelle.
And I'll come back when miracles have been performed. Amen.
All right.
With a baby bump. With a baby bump.
It's the Breakfast Club
on the wedding night.